Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. And today we've got another flashback draft, this time to M19, Core Set 2019. This came out back in 2018. These sets are named for the year after they come out. So this is a really old one of the oldest sets on Magic Arena, and as such, I haven't drafted it that much. This was back before I was doing daily draft. So it'll be an interesting time here, just going back to some bread and butter magic, just trying to do individual card evaluation, trying to find the open colors, not really knowing too much about the specific format archetypes, but it's a core set. It's going to be some basic bread and butter stuff here, take removal and bombs really highly, and just try to find the open colors. So we'll see how it plays out for us, how well we can do in a set that I'm pretty unfamiliar with. For our pack one, pick one, I imagine Lich's Caress is just a really solid removal spell to take here, but there's other good cards like Dwindle for blue removal. Omen Speaker with the Scry on the enter the battlefield effect is pretty good, but the simple way to start things off is to just take an excellent removal spell like Lich's Caress. Pick number two, we've got a Shock here for more excellent removal. This one a lot more efficient than Lich's Caress, but it only kills the small stuff. Still great, so I'm interested in taking that. Looks like the green-white archetype in this set is an enchantment-based deck, so that would be a pretty fun one to speculate on drafting here. So that's another option if we don't want to stay married to our pack one, pick one. But I think Shock is a very solid, flexible card here. The Gallant Cavalry looks pretty nice too. This is, again, old enough that the power level is definitely a bit lower than what we're used to nowadays. So like 4 mana for 2/2/2s. Very, very solid. 4 mana 3/2 draw a card if you have an artifact, also quite solid. There's a lot of super filler stuff in this core set, like a 6 mana 6/5 with no abilities. So you do have to scrape the bottom of the barrel a little bit by the end of the draft for your 20th to 23rd playable. So you have to lower your expectations for the quality of cards a little bit in this set. Pick three, there's a couple pretty nice value plays we can take here. Sky Scanner, which fits into our deck no matter what we play. A 1/1 flyer that draws a card when it enters. Or if we want to lock in on black and stick to it no matter what, Gravedigger's pretty nice, say 2/2 that picks up our best creature from our graveyard, puts it back in our hand. So it's a pretty good late game play. Don't mind the Gravedigger here. It's also got that classic artwork. I don't know when this artwork first came out, but I remember this from like 10th edition or something, or maybe just M10, Core Set 2010. But this artwork's pretty iconic to me. There's also Druid of the Horns. If we took the green-white build around uncommon, could be on a green-white Auras deck here, which would have been pretty fun, but I think we're in an okay spot. 3 really solid plays so far. Really solid spells in general. Pick number 4. We've got an Omen Speaker here, the 2 mana 1/3 Scry 2. That's just a solid stat line for the cost. If you top deck it in the late game, it helps scry any lands away. If you play it early game, it's a good early blocker that sets up your draws. I think it just plays pretty deceptively well. Essence Scatter is also usually quite good in these core sets. There's not much in red and black. If we stick on color here, we're just taking Nightmare's Thirst, which without any other life gain in the deck is just a 1 mana -1/-1. Not very good. You have to have some life linkers to make it particularly good. I guess we could double spell Lich's Caress and Nightmare's Thirst in the same turn. That's a pretty expensive combo. Much better just with life linking stuff. Yeah, I think I'm speculating on Essence Scatter or Omen Speaker here. I'll take the Essence Scatter. Pick number 5. Boggart Brute actually it seems pretty nice by the power level of creatures in general that we're seeing. 3 mana 3/3 no text. 3 mana 2/3 no text. A lot of filler stuff. 2 mana 0/5 wall. So a 3 mana 3/2 menace for that evasion could really help get some early damage in. Goes along with our Shock pretty well. Leaning a little deeper into red, I don't mind that. Pick number 6. There's the Sky Scanner decently late. This just seems like solid filler for anything. I don't mind the Sky Scanner. Not too many other particularly good-looking options. Again, more of these very fillery creatures. For pick 7, Colossal Dreadmaw. This is back when Colossal Dreadmaw was actually like a solid limited stat line. Now they always have to like gain 3 when they enter or something to be worth it. But 6 mana 6/6 trample is real. or the Drill Master for a really aggressive deck. Our red's leaning pretty aggressive here. Our black could play a good grindy long game, though. I think black-green off of these, Dreadmaw and Skyscanner looks decent, but red-white off of these and Drill Master looks decent. Either way here. I'm a big Dreadmaw fan. We'll take a Dreadmaw. Pick number 8, Angel of the Dawn. Dang. I should have taken the white spell, but there was no way to know in hindsight without hindsight, what color was going to get a good card out of this pack. I don't think Daggerback Basilisk is good, nor are the red or black spells, but both of the white spells are decent. Take Vengeance, good defensive removal, and Angel of the Dawn's really good at the top end of your curve in an aggressive deck with a lot of cheap creatures, so wish we took the 2-mana white creature. That would have been a really nice start towards Boros aggro. Pick 9, Oakenform, Dwindle, pretty filler stuff. I do have one scatter here. It's going to be 2 cards towards blue with Dwindle. I think I like that better than Oakenform. Satyr Enchanter came all the way around. Okay, I am really like 2 cards deep into every color now, but pick 10, Satyr Enchanter. I think I have to open up the door to that. If we wheel the Druid thing as well, we lock in on that, and that would be next pick, I believe, would have been the Druid. This pack doesn't really have playables. Just a Defender, Fog, Mediocre Axe. Guess Axe could fit into anything. Okay, I don't think we wheeled the Druid. I think the Druid would have been in this pack, but I might be wrong. It might be the one after this. Alright, we don't get the Druid. It's just guaranteed. We'll just be 2 cards into every single color and decide later, I guess. Yep, that's gonna be interesting. Pack 2, pick 1. Patient Rebuilding. 5 mana. Enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent mills 3 cards, and then you draw a card for each land card they milled. So it's a mill win condition and a card draw engine at the same time. That's a lot of mana, but if you're in a stable position that can really win the game, it also has Nicol Bolas on the artwork. How can I resist that? So that gets me interested in blue-black control here. Looking like the best place to maximize the value of this card. Maximize the power level of it. If we're really lucky, we wheel like a Rise from the Grave or a Divination or something. I think Exclusion Mage, Aviation Pioneer look pretty solid, so they're probably pretty early picks for most people. Another thing to note here is that, judging by the quality of creatures that we've seen in these packs, I don't think this is going to be a super fast format, so that does make cards like Patient Rebuilding a lot more playable, whereas if it showed up in something like Final Fantasy, it might actually be a little bit too slow, because the card quality is a lot higher. But here I think it probably should be pretty decent. Pick 2, probably Anticipate here, help dig for our major bomb or whatever we need at the time. Doomed Dissenter doesn't look bad either, though. It's 2 blockers off of just 1 spell. Plays well with the Gravedigger, because it's a creature we're going to chump block with really early to make sure that we do have a creature in our grave by the time we cast this, but we're not married to our black yet. I'm pretty married to the blue. Let's go for the Anticipate. Okay, we're married to black. There's a Murder. Liliana's Contract also. I mean, losing 4 is a real cost, but 5 mana draw 4 is very good. I think I still want to take Murder over it, because we're going to be pretty light on creatures and pretty controlling, so I think that lose 4 would be really painful. Again, it's almost definitely still worth it, but it's competing with such excellent removal by this set's standards when the common removal spells 5 mana for the same thing. Is this 3 mana? I guess I gain life off this one, but Murder is so efficient. I'm going to take the Murder here. If Murder wasn't in here, I'd slam dunk Contract, but I think Murder just looks spectacular. Another Satyr Enchanter. Sad day. I think I'm pretty locked in on what we're doing now. If we get some red fixing, we could splash in a shock, but not splashing in a green-white spell. Child of the Night, early creature to trade off with and gain some life to prolong the game for us. That looks good to me. Pick 5. Fel Spectre's pretty nice. 1/3 flying blocker makes your opponent discard a card, so it's a good little 2-for-1 there. Scholar's not bad, but we have to have a lot of artifacts for it. There are some cute things you can do with Switcheroo. If you have small creatures with good enter the battlefield effects like Sky Scanner or Gravedigger, get their enter the battlefield effect and then like try to steal your opponent's bomb. It's not very good against blue decks because they could just bounce their own creature back to their hand at any point later in the game. But because of that same synergy, if you have a bunch of bounce spells, you can switcheroo and then cast a bounce spell on your own card sometimes. If, again, it's one of the cards with like a good enter effect, you give it to them, then you bounce it back to your hand to replay it, get its enter effect again, and they don't have the creature. Turn your bounce spell into a full-on removal spell that puts you up a card. It's pretty cute. It's especially good with cards that bounce something when they enter the battlefield, like Exclusion Mage. That would be really nasty if you could pull that off. Vampire Innate looks fine in a slow controlling deck. Just drain life. Keep us gaining life throughout the game. Here's Essence Scatter. The Neonate plays well with Essence Scatter. We get to hold it up, but if we don't use it, at least we gain a life for the turn. Ravenous Harpy is not going to be good in this deck. We're just not going to have enough creatures for it, but this is really nice for like the Rakdos deck. Looks like Rakdos red-black is going to be a sacrifice deck in this set. Like most core sets. Hired Blade, pretty filler, but fine, especially when you have cards like Gravedigger. We can flash this in as an early removal spell, make sure it's in our grave for Gravedigger. Uncomfortable Chill to slow things down. Another Hired Blade. Bog Stomper. And some nonsense. Oh, Blue-Red Enigma Drake would be a fun deck to build with a bunch of instants and sorceries. Sadly, today is not the day for that. We got the Lich's Crest, Murder, Gravedigger holding us in black. The Fel Spectre 2 also looks quite strong. Alright, pack 3. How juiced is our deck going to get? It's going to get pretty juiced. We open up an on-color rare, and it's a solid one. 5 mana 4/4 flyer is already a good stat line in core sets. That would be just like a decent uncommon to draft. This adds on some wish counters on top of that. So for 4 mana, you get to remove one of your 3 wishes from the Djinn, flip the top card of your library, and play it for free, which is very, very strong. It's a 5 mana 4/4 flyer with 3 draw spells attached to it. Here's a 2 mana 1/3 flyer. 2 mana 1/3 flyer is already a solid stat line. So even without any other spirits in your deck, I don't mind that. It's not an incredible stat line though, so something like Sleep might be better. Although Sleep is a lot better the more aggressive your deck is. I think this is pretty nasty in like blue-green decks. You play a bunch of beefy green creatures and then Sleep, oops, I win the game. Defensively, this isn't that good. It's a lot better when you're getting multiple attacks out of it by shutting off all your opponent's blockers, because if you're using it just to stop your opponent from attacking you, you're only stopping one attack. It's basically a fog at that point for a lot of mana. Yeah, I'm not actually into the Sleep. I'll just take the Phantom over, like Snapping Drake here. But while I do think it's okay without other spirits, I don't think it's really like a pick one, so that's a little bit of a bummer here. I will take an Omen Speaker here. That looks solid. It's a good early blocker for us. Sets up our draws. Good creature to end up in the grave for the Gravedigger. Another Essence Scatter. All scatters all day, baby. Or another Sky Scanner to go with, again, Gravedigger. Play it on 3, chump with it, play Gravedigger. I think I'll take the Scatter here. Pick 5, another Dwindle. Sure. Hired Blade or Cancel here. I think I have enough instants to play Cancel. Now we'll get another Sky Scanner. We're just like all in on patient rebuilding here. I guess I could get some wins off of Gin of Wishes potentially, but we're just playing a bunch of card draw and card selection stuff. We're just trying to hit patient rebuilding and then just stop our opponent from killing us in the meantime till they mill out. This is going to be a rude control deck here. I have 2 artifacts. We still can't play Scholar of Stars. Get an Uncomfortable Chill to slow things down. I'd almost rather play another Uncomfortable Chill over a Snapping Drake, but now we have a bit of a flyer sub-theme we could try to win with. Could be cute. Yeah, I'll still take... I'm gonna go really, really annoying control here. We'll play this Uncomfortable Chill. I am on 25 cards here, so I might not have room for either of those picks. It's like a cut Bog Stomper. I have early Scry and some card draw. Could maybe cut a land here. Curve stops at 5 as well. Cut Bog Stomper and a land. Seems reasonable. Alright. Some dedicated control to start us off in the M19 flashback draft, although there are a lot of variety draft things going on right now, and I want to play a little bit more Final Fantasy before it leaves, so we're probably only doing like 2 of these core set drafts maximum. We gotta play some Omniscience draft, gotta play some Cube, gotta play some Final Fantasy. There's a lot to do this week before the launch of Edge of Eternity's. I guess the Edge of Eternity's early access is next week, and then we'll launch the week after that. One more cut. Yeah, I think I'll drop a land here. 14 blue cards, 8 black. Actually, no, it's probably kind of crazy to drop a land here still. Because while a lot of our cards like 3 mana or less, we are going to want to double spell a lot as we get later into the game. So the thinking is that I have like scrying on enter and card draw on enter, so we'll on average see a little bit more cards than usual. Get a little deeper into the deck than usual, which means drawing, you know, another land. Yeah, I could see doing it either way. I'm gonna get greedy here and go 16 lands, but I think 17 is still very reasonable. All right, call it a deck there, hop into the gameplay, and see how well we do on this return trip to Core Sets 2019. Mono blue opening hand here on our 8/8 split. It's awkward. We are on the play here, so unless they resolve a good 1 or 2 mana aggressive creature, oh good lord. Red is the worst color to see with this opening hand. But being on the play means if they don't start till turn 3, then we're super fine. But if they curve out 1/2 here, we're going to have problems. And of course they are a red hyper aggro deck that's curving out starting turn 1. Which means we've got big issues here. Also, our first couple draws have not been lands. Luckily, because of the Goblin Motivator, they kind of have to play their creatures pre-combat, which makes it easier for us to get a counterspell down here. I think I have to cancel here while I'm stuck on mana over Essence Scatter, because if this game goes long enough, we could cast Essence Scatter and Higher Blade, or Essence Scatter and Murder in the same turn a lot more easily than cancel on something else. And currently, I think for a long time here, the most important thing to counter is going to be creatures from our opponents. So I don't really need the flexibility of countering non-creatures in this matchup against a green-red deck. If they don't cast a creature pre-combat, then we can just Uncomfortable Chill. Okay, Colossal Majesty doesn't do anything till they have a power 4 or greater creature on board, and we can counter that creature with Essence Scatter or kill it with Murder or something. I guess I actually get to Hired Blade kill the Motivator. That's even better than Chill right now. And then I could have Uncomfortable Chill, kill the Pyromancer, and scatter their next creature. Wow, this is actually lining up incredible for us here. A lot of early pressure. We're already at half of our starting life total. But from here on out, we look like we have the tools to deal with anything they want to cast. So counter that. I'm countering it instead of murdering it. Okay, well, I don't have double black, so that would be another reason. I'm a little dumb. But the main reason, even if I had double black, that I would have done that, is that I can still hold up Uncomfortable Chill if I scatter instead. Alright, well, that was a really incredible middle game here for us. Again, the start was a little rocky, but those spells went absolutely ham. Fire Elemental, we can murder that. So they don't draw the card till their upkeep though, so Dwindle works too. So we'll Dwindle and keep the instant speed spell. Alright, they'll go for the chump block. Another Uncomfortable Chill, cool. I don't need to murder their card until they're nearing their next upkeep. Oh, I don't have any creatures in my grave. What am I doing? Theoretically, this would be a fine time to cast Gravedigger, but I'm not going to cast it without a creature in grave. Although, 1, 2, 3, 4... the 2-turn clock if I play Gravedigger here. This is a little awkward. But hit for 6 2 turns in a row by playing this now. Force them to have removal in hand here. Bristling Boar. Pass. Murder. Hit for 6, pass. You have 1 turn, opponent. Can you live? Tormenting Voice, ditch a card, draw 2. Dig for an out. Anticipate. Find Patient Rebuilding for the potential mill win if they survive all this damage. They do have the Electrify for the Hired Blade, so they just take 3. At this point, they're dying to damage way faster than mill, so we just play another threat, play the Djinn of Wishes. And there's the concession from our opponent. Absolutely beautiful game from our deck there. The control stuff just going absolutely crazy. Cards like Uncomfortable Chill let us 2 for 1 our opponent there. The Hired Blade let us 2 for 1 our opponent. Things just lined up super well there once we got to the mid game and stabilized and flipped that game really hard on our opponent. That is 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are on the play for game number 2 as well. Start with our Vampire Neonate, and then I get to hold up an Essence Scatter, and whenever I don't scatter, I drain them for a life here. We have our main control win condition in the hand, Patient Rebuilding. That will be our plan to get to victory this game. Dryad Greenseeker, that card is spectacular, so I'm going to counter it. Anytime there's a land on top of their deck, they get to draw it, so it digs very far through their deck, helps them get through all those lands and get to the better spells. Gear per Guide. Power 2 or less. Ooh, that's going to shut off some blocks here. Even if I dwindle it, it keeps its ability, which is rough for me. Fel Spectre was a great draw, gives me a spell for the turn. Because I'm not going to dwindle the Guide because it has a very valuable ability. We'll have to save the dwindle for their you know, like 6 mana 6/6 trample or something that doesn't have abilities, if we can. They do get to attack for 3 here without even activating it right now. And that is the one argument for dwindling it, is that they don't even have to activate it to get it in right now. But there's the murder, so we can just murder it. But let's start the patient rebuilding as soon as possible. Draw the extra cards here. Green is a color that can have main deckable enchantment removal. I think Reclamation Sage is in this set. That's the most main deckable enchantment removal because it's tacked onto a creature. Alright, hit me for 3 with the guide and play a giant spider. That was a weird visual thing there. No lands milled, so no cards drawn yet. We get to murder the guide and have our Essence Scatter held up. I don't get to hit them at all anymore because the spider has reach. I think due to its ability, I still have to murder the gear per guide instead of the giant spider. And then I can dwindle the giant spider and still have an Essence Scatter for whoever's next. I should wait till they go to the end step just in case they cast a really good 2-mana creature. Alright, they don't cast a good 2-mana creature. Build 1 land this time, so we draw 1 extra card. It's a Hired Blade. Actually not a bad draw here. If they don't cast a creature for us to Essence Scatter, we get to slam down a 3/2. Vigilant Baloth. Well, that is certainly a creature to scatter. And there's the concession from our opponent. The classic control build being very, very annoying for our opponents. They scoop a little early there, and we are 2-0 heading into game 3. All right, real good luck on the play draw this draft so far. We're on the play 3 games in a row here. Hired Blade was a great draw. I think I'll scatter the Druid here, slow them down, keep them from ramping into bigger stuff quite as quickly. Yep, that kept them from casting anything this turn, it looks like. Except maybe instant speed removal. They have some kind of instant that targets a creature in their hand. Because their turn went through when they played their 3rd land, but then as soon as a Hired Blade hit the board, it started waiting. Probably a combat trick. I don't think there's a lot of removal they could have there for, like, that doesn't require double black. At least for what I've seen, all of our removal is double black. We drew into our patient rebuilding, so we have the long game win condition there. But we have a decent board for just trying to win off combat damage right now. Slam down a Hired Blade this end step. Hack in an Uncomfortable Chill this turn to beat the 2/2 token. They're not going to want to trade into the 4/2 Menace. So we get 4 damage in and kill the 2/2 token this turn. Thank you, Uncomfortable Chill. Very cool. Did not hit a land for us, sadly. So we are going to be chilling a little longer. They do hold the zombie back now, so they might be okay with taking a bad trade. Although, we do think they're probably on a combat trick, but trading a combat trick into a 3/2 with no abilities is also pretty good for us. Yeah, don't mind that at all. Abnormal Endurance was the spell, so that's just gone now. They just reanimated a card that doesn't even have an enter effect or anything. Let's just draw Patient Rebuilding. Now seems like a fine time. It's probably better to play like Child of Night and Omen Speaker, just going for damage, but I like Patient Rebuilding. I enjoy the card, so I'm just going to slam it out. There's the concession from our opponent either way. Just very strong stuff from our deck so far, and our opponent's hand must have been pretty weak this game. That's 3-0. We are already guaranteed to have at least a 50-50 run for this return to Core Set 2019. All right, our first game on the draw here. Game number 4. We've got a great curve, though. Neonate into the Phantom with 2 different options for removal on turn 3 and the mana to cast either of them. We have double black for murder as soon as we hit that mana. Blue-black mirror match, but our opponent is at the advantage here for being on the play. Probably not a huge advantage. This tends to be a somewhat grindy matchup, where the extra card you get from being on the draw is a reasonable approximation of the value you get from being on the play. Got the 1/3 flyer for the Bloodletter. I don't think I need to do any removal or anything. We'll just play the scanner, draw a card. This sets up to have a good creature in grave for Gravedigger. Felspector was another very good draw. I think even if they Essence Scatter Felspector, it's not bad for me because I have the Gravedigger in hand here. Although maybe better just hold up Murder. I think Essence Scatter is the only thing I would care about, and I'm not going to have any bait for the Essence Scatter for a while. Should both neonate each other for a little bit here. Bad is that? Yeah, it's not that bad. We'll go Felspector. I mean, it's not that good either. Alright, they have the scatter, but we have the Gravedigger, so we don't really care. This gives our Gravedigger something to do. Divination. Very good in this kind of matchup. Play a Cinder Barons. Ooh, if they open the Mythic Rare Nicol Bolas, we certainly die to some Mythic Rares here. I can tell you that much. So let's hope they didn't, because we've drawn 0 counterspells this game. Nicol Bolas, one of those cards, even if you kill it as soon as it comes into play, at 2 for 1z really bad. It's a 4/4 flyer, and your opponent discards a card when it enters. So Bolas would be really bad. I don't really care if they remove the Phantom to kill both. But if they don't, that's just a great deal for me. Okay. That's really not bad either. Got Uncomfortable Chill. Bad. They have Essence Scatter mana up again. If they drew double Scatter this early, that is some great luck. But again, I have no other creatures. I have no bait for the counter. Alright, luckily they did not draw Essence Scatter. Got rid of a removal spell, so their hand's insane. That's what that tells me, and that is sketchy. Okay. So we're kind of just sitting here slowly getting neonated right now. Not a lot I can do about that. Wow. Oh my god. Just murder and neonate at this point? That's embarrassing. Okay, Hired Blade is helpful. 3 power attackers on the ground, a really big deal against the multitude of 0/3s. Probably just like all removal in their hand here. Oh god, I hope they don't have cancel. I think I missed a neonate. I clicked too fast. Certainly missed at least one. Could have gone for chill there, but I really want to rebuilding as quickly as possible to give them less chances to draw into cancel. If they have it right now, there's nothing we can really do. So I don't think they'd cancel chill there. Okay, they have anticipate. I guess maybe the plan is still chill, because it's like if they have cancel, maybe they'd cancel chill. But then I'd have to wait another turn to rebuilding. It worked out, though. They didn't have cancel, and now they have less time to draw it. Because we played the rebuilding last turn instead of letting them get their draw step first. Archer the face, we're down to 10. The neonates are still an issue for sure. Especially if I forget my own neonate a bunch, like I think I have been. But patient rebuilding has some really, really good utility here. Sky scanner. Not really worried about the archer at all. Can block an uncomfortable chill. Anticipate looking for essence scatter. Not essence scatter, but not lands at least. Yep, neonates are still bad. Down to 10. They're anticipate. They've dug really far. Again, that Cinder Barons, I think they opened a Nicol Bolas in their draft pod. And it's going to be a nightmare whenever they draw it, which should be getting soon at this point with how far they dug with Anticipate. Would you like to cancel this? No. Well, that was pretty reasonable for us. I have the scatter now. Too late for this salvager. They pick up the anticipate. Okay, so they're just casting anticipate now. Oh, we milled Bolas. That is depressing for our opponent. They have 13 cards left. Just hold up double scatter. We're not going to kill them with damage here. Let's just hold up a bunch of blockers and double scatter and lock in the patient rebuilding kill. Because they should basically only have like a totally lost that can put an all-man permanent on top of our deck here to deal with it. Shouldn't really have a way to like kill it permanently. I guess if they drop totally lost and cancel, it'd be pretty bad. But there's the concession from our opponent. Patient rebuilding the MVP for a mirror match like that. And luckily, because it is a mirror match, it's a big, grindy, long game, so we have all the time we need to draw into it. We got lucky, though. I think whoever drew their bomb rare first was likely to win that game. We did consistently have, like, removal for Bolas in the early game. We had murder for quite some time if they hit it really early. But later, there was a good chunk of time there where I didn't have Essence Scatter or Murder. I only had a Dwindle, and Dwindle would not have stopped them from killing us with Bolas. They would have gotten rid of a card right when it entered, and then they would have flipped it into the Planeswalker and ruined my day. So, just a matchup that was going to come down mostly to who draws their bomb rare first, and luckily for us, we drew the rebuilding and got extra lucky in that we milled their Bolas. So that is 4-0 heading into Game 5 for a really lucky draft this time around. All right, another patient rebuilding game here. You love to see it. Game number 5 here. We are on the play on this one. This is a really nice start. I get to hold up Essence Scatter, and I just anticipate if we don't scatter, and we don't scatter. I'm just gonna play Sky Scanner next turn. I think I have to just take Gravedigger, because I'm not playing a 2-drop creature right now. But I'm probably not playing Gravedigger for a while either, but it's going to be a lot better later than the 2-mana 1/3 or 2-mana 2/1. Gravedigger back, a Sky Scanner goes hard. Trade into their Thopter and counter whatever they play. Working our way for the Gravedigger on Sky Scanner. I could uncomfortable chill here, but then I don't get to counter anything. I don't know how worth it that is. I guess I do really want to draw a land here, so drawing a card is pretty valuable right now. I guess we might pull a cancel out of their hand, which would also be fine, because again, we're fine with the trade too, if that's how this goes. Okay, Aven Wind Mage. It's the play. I could Rebuilding now. While they're tapped out of counter mana, I'm under a bit of pressure for doing that, but then I get to start drawing extra cards as soon as possible to try to make up for it. It's close, but I am going to just start rebuilding here. This also puts the mill clock as fast as possible on them. Gets us milling right now. Okay, Disperse, hold up like a cancel here. That's annoying, because it's the only thing they could have in this color pair to deal with it. There's a bounce spell like that. I have to draw into Dwindle or Murder or something, so I have to just recast it here. If they have a bunch of Disperses, they're just going to get me. Because I can't deal with this Resolved Wind Mage. Land, love to see it. Double draw, Murder and Dwindle. Absolutely perfect. The Wind Mage doesn't have any abilities except its ability to attack, so we'll dwindle that and pass from there. Trade into Sky Scanner and hold up counter spells. I don't even know what they're going to pick up here. Oh, Disperse. Yeah, that's definitely getting countered. Yeah, it's not particularly relevant what they're going to pick up there. We just kind of counter that no matter what. They're picking up any instant or sorcery with it. With double scatter in our hand. Oh my god, we are just rolling here. There's the blocker for the Pioneer. We've got counter spells for anything. If they just go to their end step without casting anything to play around counters, we can play Hired Blade now. Lava Axe the face. It's pretty cute and it's awkward, but I think I have to actually cancel Lava Axe. Moderately embarrassing. Countering a Lava Axe, but where we're at there, and it gets the concession from our opponent, and that is 5-0. Just kind of speed ran. In control deck terms, this is kind of a speed run. Into the money here. Undefeated so far, heading into game 6. All right, here we are on the draw for game 6. It was a mono black opener, but I think it was worth it considering any land gets us to double Sky Scanner, and when either of those die, the Gravedigger to pick one up. So it doesn't desperately need that blue mana early, and then luckily enough, we did just hit the blue mana immediately anyway, which makes it a very reasonable keep. All right, our opponent's ramping with Elvish Rejuvenator for now. They're playing green and black. There are some big green beefy creatures in the set, as we saw during the draft, the Colossal Dreadmaw type cards would be somewhat scary, but we have a decent amount of dwindly, murdery stuff for them, since we don't have counter spells in this hand. We'll just have to draw into dwindles and murders later. Reclamation Sage. Yep, there's the main deck artifact removal, but that just means Gravedigger has some good targets here. And the fact that it's a 2-1 means the Sky Scanner is quite a good blocker against it. I think the stat lines actually pair up well enough that I'm happier to play Sky Scanner than Gravedigger right now. Gravedigger holds that off, Neonate blocks the Sage. I guess either way is pretty fine, so we should probably be mana efficient here. I could play the Sky Scanner so that if they have like removal for Gin of Wishes, I could Gravedigger that back. But the value of like picking up a 2-for-1 with Gravedigger is pretty high too. Okay, well, there goes our board. Been rough for us either way. There's a Dwindle. Go for it. Do they have Murder? Or the 5-mana sorcery? That's the easiest no blocks of my life. Still at 20 life there. I think I just need to start activating the Djinn as quickly as possible, so that by the time they draw the removal, it's already put me up a couple cards. So I'm not going to cast anything here. Just going to activate Djinn instead. And the way that it works is when you reveal the card, you may play it. Because it's part of the Djinn trigger, you get to play sorcery speed things at instant speed. As such. But that would have made it so, like, if we hit any creature there, that attack would have been horrible for our opponent. But I guess our deck doesn't have that many beefy creatures. But yeah, Fel Spectre was there instead. That would have been an insane turn for us. Fel Spectre blocked the 2-1. Wild. Alright, they picked up Declare Dominance, which doesn't do anything while the Djinn is tapped. So Djinn is kind of still just soloing it for us. There's a Sky March Bloodletter. Take 1. I should have activated this before blocks there. Clicked too fast. Alright. Land. I'll have to discard a hand size here anyway. Might cast Omen Speaker and Sky Scanner then. Actually, Child of Night on this board. Well, I guess anything I cast, they could declare dominance and kill. Anyway. Yeah, alright. Well. Discard the hand size. Get rid of... I get rid of Omen Speaker. Final activation of the Djinn, and now I can just start dumping my hand out. Alright, double land. Sad. Djinn found us 1 spell, but it also hit our opponent for 12 damage, so that is more than good enough for me. Land is great here. We can double spell this turn now. Try to declare dominance us for lethal. It's only +3/+3. That'd be really hard to do at 13. Guess guess they had multiple turns of chump blocks here. Speaking of multiple turns of chump blocks, actually feels like Sky Scanners are better than Fel Spectre right now because of the Declare Dominance. Now that I drew into a counterspell, though, we'll just hold up Hired Blade and the counterspell instead. Colossal Dreadmaw, sure. Scatter it. This Sky Scanner is not super likely to get through. Let's just whittle down their board a little bit. Lower the number of creatures they got. Well, that's going to be a good turn. Uncomfortable Chill has been such a huge overperformer today. I thought that card would be decent, but the combat trick half of it has been ridiculously good pretty much all day. There's the concession from our opponent, and that is 6-0. Can we get a full 7-win undefeated trophy run for the return to Core Set 2019? That would be some wild stuff, but just some beautiful, beautiful draws with this bread and butter control deck. We'll see how things wrap it up as we head into the final battle with all 3 rounds in the chamber here. All right, here we are for what could be the final game of Magic of the day. We are on the play again. I think most of the games today we've been on the play. Not all of them. I know in the blue-black matchup we were on the draw at least. But we've just had a lot of great luck with this deck in a lot of different aspects, and being on the play so often has certainly been one of them. Our opponent is on a green splashy deck. They're playing Rupture Spire, which is a all-color land. It's a very slow land. It's a double tap land. It enters tapped and taps one of your other lands, and then it's just whatever color you need for the rest of the game. I don't think it's crazy to just cycle an Uncomfortable Chill here. It could be wrong because of how good that card has been today, but I think just cycling it towards trying to hit anything that affects the board quicker is fine right now. Try to put pressure on our opponent before they have all the mana they need to play all their big, scary multicolor threats. Unfortunately, the cycle doesn't work out. We just find a couple more lands for our next couple draws. Alright, I'm not going to run out Djinn of Wishes against a heavy blue deck here that hasn't played anything yet. Basically, the best case scenario I could see for this Djinn of Wishes is that it gets removal spelled after they untap. But the most likely case scenario feels like they just counter it. Murder, an Uncomfortable Chill. I don't mind either of those. But when they have no creatures on board, I'm not going to keep the Uncomfortable Chill. I'll still keep the Murder. Because if they are the kind of deck that's just trying to hit high mana values and then they're going to start playing like one big creature a turn, the Murder style cards are going to be really important. I could be playing around the counters and removal too hard here, holding off on the Djinn, but I think it's basically impossible. They don't have something to deal with one creature, they just don't want to spend it on a 1-power creature. Guess I've got a Murder already in my hand, so I'll hold up the double black here. I was tempted to hold up double blue in case I draw cancel, but it's better to hold up the mana for what you already know you have than the, 1 in 25 chance of hitting cancel there. This is strange. They either have a bunch of interaction or the worst hand ever. We have a lot of creatures in our deck that play really well against removal. Yeah, so Rabid Bite. I could get the 2-for-1. I lose a Murder here that I can't use on a bigger creature later, but probably actually worth it, considering I have 3 other ways to deal with a big creature. Now I can cast the Djinn and still have Essence Scatter up, but I'll probably die here. I have no more little baby threats to play to bait removal. Scatter a Dreadmaw. Weird game of Magic there. Our opponent just had a really awful hand, and we just got really lucky all day, I guess. That is a 7-win undefeated run with this blue-black deck. I think the deck is quite good. I don't think it's 7-0s on average, but there were a lot of things about it that were quite big over performers. Yeah, this deck is certainly not perfect. I think there's cards like Child of Night here that are really filler for this deck. But a lot of the other cards ended up playing a lot better than they looked and overperforming quite a bit. I think having the triple Uncomfortable Chill for a bunch of other instances, triple Chill and Anticipate, played really well with the 4 counterspells, the 3 Essence Scatters, and the Cancel. And then we're heavy enough on creatures here that the Uncomfortable Chills were consistently working as combat tricks, like alongside a Hired Blade to be able to eat 2/2s and stuff for free. So the Uncomfortable Chills were huge overperformers. The Hired Blades themselves, pretty huge overperformers as well. These are the other kind of cards. They're really good if you have a bunch of counterspells in your deck. That way, when you hold up the counterspell and your opponent plays something you don't care about countering, you still have something to do with that mana. And they're kind of dual purpose in this deck. They're great with the counterspells, and they were great with the Gravedigger, just to play it and trade it off early and then pick it up with Gravedigger. Although I don't think we ever actually did that. That's just theoretically good. We Gravediggered almost exclusively Sky Scanners today, which was also very nice. Gin of Wishes was awesome. We won one game just like exclusively off of that. Basically the only creature we played for a long time. Bell Spectre was consistently good stuff. Just really solid stuff from everything in the deck. Patient Rebuilding was probably the biggest win condition, though. We won the most games off of that card. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's not far from it. Swap out a Child of Night and maybe the 3rd Uncomfortable Chill for a couple more removal spells, and then I think this deck is exceptional. So, really good stuff today for a 7-0 undefeated run on the return to Core Set 2019. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.